Football with friends is fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap here with Cody Carpentier on a big Tuesday edition of the show, an April Fool's edition of the show. Hopefully you didn't get pranked. Cody, any pranks for you today in your life?
Dude, honestly, I got a question for you. We'll talk. Oh, April Fools. If somebody puts out a joke like yesterday, like last night, and then this morning they come back and they go April Fools, does that count?
No.
Because our local minor league baseball team put out a tweet last night and it had like this graphic. It was on Instagram and all this stuff. And it was like, because of the continued inflation in America, our dollar beer night on Wednesday nights will go to $5 for a beer night.
5X?
5X. It goes, and I was like, I tweeted it. I don't tweet about it's like Charleston River Dogs. I was like, I don't tweet about these guys. I went to a couple games. I like going. It's like dollar beer night, right? Everybody does dollar dog night.
Yeah.
And it was like, we've switched it to $5 because of inflation. And then that was like yesterday at like 7-8 o'clock. And then this morning they come back and they go April Fools. I'm like, hold up.
I think that's fine. I think they just got one over on you.
Yeah, they posted it last night.
Yeah, well, I think in that case that's fine. I think they did a good job there.
They're like, just kidding. Dollar beers aren't going anywhere.
Of course they're not. They got to get people out to the park. We have to get people onto the YouTube, so we have to talk about football. And one guy that we wanted to talk about as far as what's going on with the transfer portal. There's been all the transfer portal talk about what's going to happen at wide receiver. And we talked about that on the podcast a little bit today, Cody. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. But I think that the first bit of sort of transfer portal activity has to do with David Bailey, the edge rusher, number 23 from Stanford, that is visiting this weekend, or he's visiting this weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I wonder, a lot of people are saying, what are they doing? Like, is edge really what they need right now? And to that, I can kind of say, well, I mean, I can understand why you're asking. I certainly have my thoughts on it. Whenever you heard this, and it might just be because it's kind of like the first flurry of activity and the first kind of visitor that we're hearing about. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the position of the greatest need or the one that they're most hyper focused on, but just the timing of it and how it's going. It's like people are like, well, why? It feels like there are other things that now they need to go get 2 new receivers, which I don't necessarily agree with. We can talk about that in a minute. I do think that there are positions that I would prefer to, I would love it if there was some stud like guard that entered into the fray. And, like I could see him being all over a dude like that. We can get into all of it, but whenever you hear this stuff about people saying, why edge? What is it that comes to your mind?
Well, first it's what we know about Trey Moore moving to linebacker.
Well,
And I think, and I would love to hear what you think, but I think this David Bailey guy from Stanford kind of classifies sort of as a buck and not a jack. Would you say?
Yeah, he's more of a hybrid linebacker / defensive end type of player. I mean, he would be playing the same position that Colin Simmons plays.
That's kind of was my thought. I was like, well, I can understand if they're getting somebody to go on the other side, but not on the same side as Simmons, especially with the positivity we've heard from Zena or about Zena through camp. Long term, though, like full season, I guess you look at that position, you go, well, if they're moving Trey Moore full-time to linebacker, then that means that you have 2 guys. So if something happens at the edge position, then you're kind of out of luck.
Yeah, well, I think that, well, first of all, can we maybe I'll just take a minute to explain this whole Trey Moore to linebacker thing and the way that I see it going down, the way I've been told it's kind of going down. And it's exactly sort of what I thought and what I've talked about here on the show, and I've sort of thought. It's that it's not a position change per se. It's an easy thing to say, like they're moving Trey Moore to linebacker. because in a lot of ways they kind of are. And I know on the first day of practice he was lining up as an inside linebacker, but it's not like Trey Moore is now like Anthony Hill's backup or Leongo Lafau's backup or Brad Spence once he's healthy. It's his backup. It's not that he's going to move to an off ball type of linebacker. It's that now you have David Benda gone, you have Maurice Blackwell gone, you have these players gone that would play in these three linebacker sets. And if you watch Georgia and you watch the way that they use like a Jalen Walker, or even mainly Jalen more than Mykel Williams, but if you saw how multiple they could be with a guy like that, what this does is it says, look, man, we want to have you and Colin Simmons on the field at the same time. And the way that we can do that is we can have some of these looks where we have you as like a, overhang guy, a robber, an outside linebacker, all this stuff. In addition to still sometimes lining up at the not necessarily at a buck defensive end, but maybe as a how should I say it, in sub packages, as a guy that would be on one side with Simmons, on the other side with maybe somebody like an Ethan Burke or something at the defensive tackle with one big guy at the nose, right? In the dime package, the dollar package, all this stuff. And so all that, you think to yourself, well, why would Trey Moore want to put himself in a position to basically be a specialty player, right? But it's not Trey Moore. Trey Moore doesn't have to accept that I'm doomed to be a specialty player now, because if you take all those snaps and you put them and you take them all in aggregate, you're probably still going to be up to a 55, 60% snap guy. And all the while, you're not limiting Colin Simmons to being a 40% snap guy. And what, from the staff's perspective, this way we can be more multiple on defense. We can feature you, Trey Moore, on defense, and we can show the NFL in much the same way that Jahdae Barron showed the NFL last year that his versatility was his greatest skill set. You, Trey Moore, can show the NFL that this season. So I think that, when we hear about all this stuff about, the staff's happy with Zena Yamuzulo, and look, the whole thing with Colin Simmons is like, we know that he's going to start and he's going to get paid a lot of money and he's going to be out of here in two more seasons, right? Like, he's going to play, he's going to start. There's no worries about him. But with the fact that Colin Simmons has been a little bit kind of banged up to start spring camp, and you're hearing all this stuff about Zena Yamuzulo, and he's playing a lot and they're happy with him and he's really involved and he's having to play a lot and all this stuff. It's like, that could also say something about the fact it's like, well, Zena Yamuzulo is having to play a lot and he's very involved right now.
Yeah.
Do you want to go into the season if there's something were to happen with Simmons, with that being the case? I just wonder, a guy like David Bailey, or David Bailey. He's number 23. Is it David or Michael Bailey?
David Bailey.
David Bailey. I just wonder about him. You watch him and he's a good player. And I wonder the same thing about him as I did about Brad Spence. I'm like, why is he coming from Arkansas to Texas when he's going to play a bunch? Like, why would he want to do that if he's going to come just to be a backup? So it's interesting to me. It's curious. It tells me, these transactions that they make and the acquisitions that they make and the way that they allocate their attention. That's the one way that a coaching staff can't lie to you. It's like in the NFL draft, we always say, it's like NFL draft, free agency. These are the times when these teams cannot lie to you. They can't miscategorize their intentions. They're just like, they're not taking the quarterback there at 12 to throw you off their scent. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they want to do. And so if this is what they want, it's just interesting to see that, there's something going on here. And it was not necessarily on my radar as something that would need immediate attacking as far as portal acquisitions.
And Bailey kind of feels just like that exact role you're defining with Trey Moore, right? Like, he feels like a guy that is good in coverage. He's a guy that can probably play some will, that can come off the edge, that can kind of be multiple in a lot of situations. And he could be the same thing. Like they could just be kind of like what Michael Simpson's saying. He's like just doubling down on strength. It's like he knows it's a strength that he has if they introduce this new thing to the defense that like Georgia was doing the last couple of years. They think these body types are a little bit different than the Jalen Walkers and Michael Williams or Michael Williams. Yeah.
Yeah.
The body types are a little bit different with Trey Moore and David Bailey, but football junkies, why would Bailey come to be a backup? I don't think you can view it that way. Just like I don't think you can view Trey Moore as a backup.
Hey, we can't get taken off of YouTube for showing all 22s.
You're good. You're
right?
Good. Yeah, he's the guy that's that we use.
All right, so let's see. So I marked down a couple plays here that I thought we could go over. If my computer, I guess my computer's acting a little bit weird here. Let's see. Let me see how I get this up and going before, and then I'll share it. But it's like there were a couple plays here I thought that we could go over, but if I could get this going and I could show you the guy's body type, you'd say, "Oh yeah, dude, that's not a guy who's coming in to mess around and try and take Ethan Burke's job," if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So here, let me share the screen again. So this was the first play that I'm going to show you, the Notre Dame game, Stanford versus Notre Dame. And can you see the screen?
Yep.
All right. So here he is right here, number 23. This is his first time entering the game. So this would have been, let's see when this was. So this was it in the first quarter. So, you know, at some point in the first drive, it was on 3rd and 17. All right, so this is him, number 23 right here. Watch this move. First play of the game. What's up with Riley Leonard? Like you'll get a better view of it here with the end zone angle. But as you can see from the side here, number 23, he's a dude who plays in space, right? He's not. It's not as much of a like a strong side defensive end type. There's another play here at 11:50 that I marked down, and we'll go to that one. And you can see here on this one. So now we're into the second quarter. Where do you have? Okay, so you have him right up here, right up at the top, up against this poor number 54. Had a lot of trouble with him in this game. But what you see here is something different. On that first one's more of that kind of that one punch with the outside arm, then the spin inside. This is more of just a hurry. I think this was a hurry. Oops. Where did I say that was? 11:50. Yeah. I'm getting my keystrokes here mixed up. So you can see here, this is more just a speed around the edge. And gosh, man, if he didn't get it, I think he kind of got held here at the end.
Yeah, that was there too.
Yeah, but it was like, these were only he's a little bit of a situational player for Stanford, Cody. Number 14's in there a lot, number 11's in there a lot. He's sort of in these pass rushing spots, but if you just I love the way that he can. I love the way that he can kind of bend through the ankles there.
He played,
and he's held. He's held by dude. This tackle 54 stinks. There was another one here at 22:10 that I marked down that I thought was worthwhile. There were actually two plays in a row here that I thought were worthwhile to look at. So 22:10. We'll just get through this one and then. Oh, yikes! So this will be the first. This will be the first play of the next drive. Notre Dame beat Stanford in this game. They're already third quarter. They're already down 27 something. So here he is up here at the top again, number 23. Bottom. And this is where I just like the hustle there of getting through the tight end and then kind of being able to pinball off of the running back as well to be able to create just a little bit of pressure. So you see the tight end motions over. He gets inside his chest plate. Then you have number 4 coming in to help, and still just creepy. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of getting there, getting involved. It was a good play by the quarterback, good catch by the wide receiver. And then here on this next play, I forgot what it was about it, but I said let it roll for the next play too. So let's see what we see from here out of him. So a little bit wide, kind of wide 9 over here. And just kind of holding up pretty well against a pulling a pulling lineman. You can kind of see well enough here that it's this thing with the fold block. I forget if it's this dude or this dude that comes around, but holding up well, keeping contained, and then coming in and making the play. So only one other thing here that I wanted to show off that just kind of shows off his speed. So basically, what I'm trying to show here is this is a good player. It's like this player is a guy who I think you would consider a take. This is the one where I just think that he shows a lot of hustle and some speed here at the about the 23:30 mark right here. Here he is, number 23. You can see him up top, and you can see him kind of the change of direction right here, and then just some pretty good speed to make that play. So in this thing, we've seen one sack, we've seen one good hurry, we've seen one time where he really did a good job keeping contained, and then once he was able to keep contained, force himself back down inside to make the play, and then just some kind of backside pursuit there, and some good closing speed to kind of make the play. And so he's a player that you would look at and you say, man, I think probably a take. I'm not sure what the plan would be for him.
How many snaps did Trey Moore play this year?
I think 60%. Let me pull it up though. 2024.
I think this guy had 360, and I think about 100 of them came in his last 2 games.
Okay, well that's interesting. That's weird because he got all the. I mean, didn't he get some like awards for some awards this year and stuff? Defensive player, a bunch of defensive player of the weeks and things like that. Defensive player participation. So Trey Moore last year played 440 snaps, 60% almost on the dot, 59.95% of regular season snaps.
So not that big of a difference.
No. Trey Moore like role.
Yeah.
He's good, man. 23 is good for Stanford. What do you think of this whole thing about Stanford with did you see that they hired Frank Reich as an interim head coach, and they're just going to have him coach for 1 year while they're trying to find a new coach?
Yeah, man. Frank Reich and Andrew Luck. It's going to be interesting.
What if Frank Reich's good?
He should be. I would bet money he will be. I don't know. It seems like a decent role for him. He always seemed like, I don't know. He was with Carolina 2 years ago, I think, when I went to training camp up there. He's fine. He's like, he's not, he's not like a Dan Quinn. I wouldn't even say he's up to like a Ron Rivera. Neither of those guys are like total alphas, but Reich I think he's going to be a good coach.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's been a great offensive coordinator. It hasn't been quite as good of a head coach in either. Well, he's a head coach in Indy, and then he got another chance in Carolina. Houston Texans fans, they say that they consider Frank Reich. That's like the F word. You don't say that because of the 35-point comeback that dude mounted in it was a divisional wild card round of the playoffs. I forgot. Just so brutal. Yeah. But anyway, David Bailey's not going to be playing for him. And he's coming to visit Texas. He's also visiting Texas Tech. Do you know what the list of schools is?
I think Tech was today or yesterday. Tech was yesterday. There's a couple other on the list. I can't remember where they went. There's Tech, Texas, and UCLA.
All right.
The ones that I saw.
Well, would you pay $500,000 for him?
Yeah. I thought you were going to ask if you pay like 800 or 900. I'd say 500 is good.
These guys are making so much money, dude. They are making so much money. It's 500, just give it to him. There's no way it can stay like this. It's not a sustainable model that we have here, dude. It's just give him $500K. It's not sustainable. It's like all the beef at Texas Beef Traders comes from a sustainable farm. All of it does. You get 10% off at Texas Beef Traders whenever you go in and you see Darren. You're going to see Shay. Whoever's up there, tell them that you heard about them on Football with Friends. They're right there in Lakeway, right off of Loman's Crossing and 620, right there in the heart of Lakeway. They have unbelievable steaks, unbelievable stuff to make burgers, unbelievable. You go in there, man, you like they might be cooking up Wagyu hot dogs. Do you know what Texas Beef Traders, they have a hot dog roller like you used to see at 7-Eleven? You might still see them at 7-Eleven for their Wagyu hot dogs, just so they have some kind of rolling around on there for when people come in and they just like give them a Wagyu hot dog, man. That's how they roll there. Give you a glass of wine, give you some beer. Let you taste the product, because once you taste the product at Texas Beef Traders, you're not gonna, you're simply just not gonna believe it. It is by far my favorite store in the world. Of any store, I like it better than any other place where I can go and do business and give them my money and get a product from them. That's why I advertise for them so much. Why I love them so much. We have the beef jerky with them. We're about to launch a new product with them. But I wouldn't advertise for them if the food wasn't so good. If it's not chicken and if it's not an animal that I kill myself, like an axis deer or a pig, it's all I eat. So make sure and go check out Texas Beef Traders, texasbeeftraders.com. Again, you get 10% off. Check out the beef jerky. There should be a link in the description below. There's a QR code right there. I just loaded up with some new beef jerky for this week. Texas Beef Traders, texasbeeftraders.com. Make sure and go give them a visit today. All right. And if you guys can't tell, we're probably gonna have to cut the show a little early today because Cody's having a few issues. But Cody, while you still can talk and still do have a voice, do you have any thoughts about going after now with the Wingo stuff, with the DeAndre Moore stuff? Does that have anything? Does that in any way make you think that they now need to go after 2 wide receivers in the portal?
No. We talked about the freshmen getting their opportunities this year. Livingstone, Aaron Butler. I think you continue to see that growth. And like I said, I think it'll iron itself out over the course of the next 2 weeks. And when the portal is in its flow, and if they have to make a move, they'll make a move. I just wonder how that looks. I know like Jason was ankling at you can't tamper, and I'm like, the tampering is about as legal as portal is. Like none of it exists in totality. So it's like, if Texas wants somebody, they're going to be able to go get somebody. It's not going to have to be some, I know you say it's a dented can aisle because the majority of the portal is, but in reality, I think for some of the big fish like the Oregon, the Texas, the Ohio States of the world, if they really need to go get something, they can go out and they can cast their rod into a different pond that nobody else can cast into, if that makes sense. So I would say they probably go out, they try to fish in that big pond and try to pull somebody in. And if they can't, they can't. But I think that they feel content with the group that they have. Again, you got some dogs as freshmen coming in, and you got Livingstone, and you got Butler getting real big opportunities of reps right now to build a rapport with Arch, on top of the fact that, you expect DeAndre Moore and Ryan Wingo. Like DeAndre Moore and Ryan Wingo didn't like tear something. They're not for the year, right? They're out for spring. So as much ground as you can make right now will only enhance and help this room in the fall. So I think they're just fine, honestly, where they're at. But one more, why not?
They were always going to take one more, and it feels like overreaction. It feels like reactionary to me that people would say like, come on, guys, what are y'all really thinking here? What are we? It's like you're trying to make a more permanent, make a more permanent solution to a more temporary issue. You know what I mean? Like, could Texas be missing 2 wide receivers like this next year at some point? Wingo and DeAndre Moore? Well, maybe, of course, maybe they could be. But I mean, I don't think that the way you go about planning for the your team building or planning for your build or your build out for this season is to say, well, we have to plan as if we're not going to have either of these guys. They're not hurt that bad. You know, and it's like it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And anytime you hear about those like that, like whenever you hear about a permanent solution to a temporary problem, it's usually not something that's made by a wise person. So I I think, to me, I'm just like, man, slot wide receiver has always been what they've said. Like, they've been telling us that since February. It's like, dude, in the spring portal, we're gonna go out and get a slot wide receiver, and we're seeing why now. It's like, behind DeAndre Moore and Dalen McCutcheon, all they have is a bunch of dudes that you can't tell them apart. It's like number 35, number 37, number 38. They're all a bunch of walk-ons. Nothing against them, but they're all 5'11". They're like, you know, like they're all walk-ons.
It's the reality of running back last year, right?
You
got down to a point where you had to go get Gardner the week before, 2 weeks before the season, because you're like, well, Colin Page looks pretty good.
Yeah, well, right, but it's the wide receivers aren't like the running backs, though, because those.
But I said that you're fighting so you don't have to deal with a potential situation like that where 1, 2, 3 injuries happen in the fall.
Yeah. Well, and if that goes down, it's like, hey, Michael Terry, go into the slot, dude. I mean, so it's like, I almost don't see it the same. It's like, it isn't like you can tell, hey, Anthony Hill, go play running back. You know, you can't do that. Even though he would be he'd be a hellacious running back. He certainly was in high school. I don't think they need to go get two. I don't.
What are the odds you could bring back Jonte Cook for like a Happy Meal?
Do you know they gave Jonte Cook $900K over 2 seasons?
That's got to be qualifier for like a Kirk Cousins type of a deal, where Kirk Cousins is just like a billionaire now, and it's like, hey man, we can probably pay you like $1,000. You want to come play quarterback? It's like
they're gonna pay him. They're gonna pay him more than that.
Hey Jonte, well, I know it's a joke, but I was like, hey Jonte, we'll buy you a Happy Meal with like a 20-piece of chicken nuggets in it. You want to come play receiver? Try to.
That they'd probably be, dude. That guy's he needs to figure out. He's got some things to figure out, I think. Before.
I mean, how long did we hold on to the Antonio Brown thing? I held on to the Antonio Brown thing for like 3 years.
Well, it's Jonte is no Antonio Brown, that's for sure. He wasn't heading to the Hall of Fame before his fallout, and Jonte Cook's fallout was not quite as spectacular as AB 84's. Although there was some odd stuff there with Antonio or with Jonte for real, especially in the whole thing that happened with the drive-through and the poor girl's car keys. The Sailor Joe said Texas is the only place he can redeem himself. I don't. So you guys are being serious? Okay, I thought it was all kind of a joke, but no, there's no way that they're bringing back Jonte Cook. Whenever I look at if I'm prognosticating and I'm trying to figure out where I think that they should go as far as the transfer portal on offense, it's obvious to me that at the interior offensive line, with your starting guards being Nato Yamuzulo and DJ Campbell, and your center being Cole Hudson, and then your primary backups here being Jaden Chapman, Nate Kibble, Jackson Christian, Connor Robertson, Connor Stroh, and Daniel Cruz. I mean, they could definitely use some of the. The thing is, though, they didn't go after either of the Notre Dame guys as hard as I would have thought that they might have. There's not really a sense of urgency there. But I'm like, and here's the thing: I'm giving the right tackle the absolute benefit of the doubt here to say don't go after tackle. It's probably gonna be fine between Baker and Kojo. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. The only guys on this Texas offensive line that deserve the benefit of the doubt at this point are Trevor Gooseby and DJ Campbell. and I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's almost DJ Campbell to a lesser degree than Trevor Goosby.
That's 100%.
Which is wild to say, right? Goosby just looks, man. Gosh, I saw him at Pro Day, and he looks. No surprise, but he looks much bigger and badder than when I saw him right at the very end of fall camp.
How's he compared to Trevor to Cam?
Cam Williams?
Yeah.
Cam Williams looks like he's like Ozempic Cam Williams. You know what I mean? He looks like whenever you see him walking around, you're like, what? Like he's lost a lot of weight, man. I don't know. It's maybe because he can't work out because his knees busted or whatever. But he had lost some weight kind of coming into this stuff.
I think he's got a workout in a couple weeks.
Where did you hear that?
On the 14th.
Huh. Like a private workout on campus?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good because he was telling me, like, I asked him if he was going to get any workout in, and he goes, man, I'm still rehabbing. So maybe, I guess that was something that came up. Dude, his agent had to know that, people were worried about it. And I was talking to people at the Pro Day about Cam Williams and some of these scouts, and they're like, well, it's like feels like a black box prospect. The tape is just so up and down. The weight is so up and down, and now we're not gonna get a workout from him. And I was telling this one guy, I was like, dude, well, here's the thing: if you were to get a workout from Cam Williams at this point, it's not sad. It's disappointing because I really do think that Cam Williams is a player who honestly would test well. He's a better athlete than people think. He's got good feet. He moves well. I always talk about, I've seen him dunking basketballs and stuff like that. I know that doesn't, dunking a basketball doesn't an athlete make, especially when you got 86-inch arms or whatever. But he moves better than you would think. And I think he'd be impressive in these workouts. So I'm glad he's doing it. But I mean, when I talked to him at Pro Day, I was trying to, I'm like, do you know when you're going to work out? He's like, man, I'm still, he didn't, you would think that he would be like, he would have his story straight. He'd say, yeah, man, like I'm going to work out, not today, but on the 14th, I'm having a private workout.
Is that what you'd expect though? Is that you not being a dick in any way, shape or form, but you would expect you would expect that exact answer
from Cam? I would expect it from Jake Majors if he was sitting out.
Correct.
All right. I get what you're saying, which goes to the other problem the teams have with him, and that he's not very good on the whiteboard with explaining blocking schemes and stuff. So it is what it is. And it's the feedback that we've gotten. But this is all to say, Trevor Goosby, I would, Cam Williams is gone. Trevor Goosby stepping in for Kelvin Banks. He's gone. And even giving those guys the benefit of the doubt. If I were Texas, I'd be bringing in two senior guards that have been good at is there no guard out there that was all MAC for, you know what I mean? This 305 pounds, it was all MAC.
That was that center from North Texas.
What?
Remember that center from North Texas?
Not that guy. That guy has some disqualifying plays.
But that's what you're digging for right now.
No, I'm not digging for that guy. No, I don't want that North Texas center. He needs to be bigger than that.
He was 305.
That guy got knocked over by a stiff wind on. I got through the first of his three plays on the all 22s, and I said, nope, that play right there is disqualifying in outside zone for Kyle Flood. It just is. He's too small, and you cannot let that happen. So not the UNT guy, but I mean, I don't know. I hate to invoke Jim Nagy's name, but like because he's at OU now, but I'll bet you that like his staff at the Senior Bowl probably knows some dude that's Fordham or something like this. That's some kind of bigger dude that can play. And I think Texas they could use that. They could probably I think they could use a tight end. I think Spencer Shannon looks good, but you got what? 2 sophomores, a redshirt freshman, and a true freshman with another true freshman coming in the summertime. Do you think Nick Townsend can come in and do you think that they're just thinking that maybe he comes in and can do something immediately, just come right into fall camp?
What's he going to do?
Be himself. He's pretty sick.
I mean, come on. Come on, man.
Come on, what?
It's Spencer Shannon, and I think Jordan Washington is going to be just fine.
Oh, I think so too, but I don't think those guys are insurmountable. It's not like either of them can't be beat. It isn't like the prices at Specs. They just can't be beat, right? Specs Wine, Spirits, and Finer Foods. Gosh, man, we love Specs so much, man. They're such a great sponsor to have. Let's hear from those guys.
At Specs, it doesn't cost a lot to turn a good time into a great time, especially if you like saving money. From connoisseur collectors to aficionados of ale, you'll find bubbly bliss at any budget with a Texas-sized selection of world-class wines, rare spirits, craft beers, and more. So when you're getting ready for a good time, Specs is ready to make it great. Because at Specs, the fun starts here.
Shout Specs, low priced amazing. Here's to you, shout, cheers to saving.
Yes, football with friends. It is fun as hell. We're here every night, usually from 6 to 7 p.m. I think Cody's about to have to get to urgent care to go get Cody's fighting through it tonight. If you guys can't tell. So Cody, we're gonna let you get to it, brother. Anything else you wanted to hit on? Any soapbox you want to get on and talk here for 5 or 10 minutes about?
The report that I had on Cam was. I thought I put it in the war room last week, but I must not have. But that he's going to have a workout the week of the 14th was what was reported. So no official date set, but it's going to be the week of the 14th. So I think who asked you in the chat? Somebody asked you in the chat. Money B did. He said, will you be able to attend Williams' workout? Generally, those are super private. But I don't know. Alex might have to pull some strings if he gets okey-doked out of practice. These next 2 weeks.
Well, here's it's so weird because at Texas, in all schools do this, but you realize these workouts, they are not
school shanked.
They aren't run by the school. They're run by the scouts, right? And then the school media department helps with it, and they kind of grant credentials for it and stuff like that. But it's truly not. It's not something where they can't bring the players over and tell the players they got to do media and stuff. It's just different. The players are like, these guys are not under the purview of the SID anymore. This is between the players and the scouts and the NFL personnel that's there. It's why it's an NFL timing day. The school was nice enough to allow the NFL timing day to happen at their venue. And so that's where they can do it. So no, the school is not going to give us access to this. And I think I would have to get in touch with Cam Williams' agent to be able to get access to it. And even in so doing, I believe that Bianco and the SID would put up hurdles to me going and saying that it's not fair to the rest of the media. So,
well, guess what? Only one person in the Texas Longhorns media does work with the NFL and in the NFL circle, not with the NFL, but in the NFL sphere of media. And only one, I would say, is qualified.
Well, there's 2 now since you're part of the Texas media now too, Cody. All right, we're gonna let Cody get to urgent care or whatever. Now, you can email us, fwfemails@gmail.com. You can find us on X at Alex Dunlap NFL, at Cody Carpentier. If you guys could please remember to like the show, subscribe to the channel. If you have a friend that might like the show, send it over to them. We're usually an hour. We're going to get out a little bit early tonight. hopefully you guys can understand. Thank you guys so much for being here. We certainly love you. We'll be back tomorrow with, back to full health, back to full strength, right? You guys have a great Tuesday night. We love you all very much. Thank you for being here. For Cody, I'm Alex. We're done.